In today's video, we're just going to be discussing how to check for the decision of a planning application. And we're also going to do a quick case study of a recent planning application. So to check for a planning decision, you just need to find out the local authority which you're going to be checking, and then you can just head to Google. In this example, we've used Havering Council, so we would type Havering Planning Decisions, and then we can just click this link here. That will take us to the screen here. And as you can see with option 3, Planning Application Decision Search, we can just select this button here. Then in this screen, what we can do, if you know the area where the planning decision has been made, we can just choose the ward name. And then we want to be looking at this area here, which is decided. If you weren't certain when this decision was made, you can maybe go back a fairly generous amount of time. So in this instance, I'll go back to the 6th of April and we'll just fill the date there. And if I wanted to run all decisions up until today's date, then I can just search there. That will bring up a list of all of the planning decisions within that period of time. Now, if we just take a quick look at some of these application decision notices, just quickly on the left-hand side, we can see the individual reference number for the planning decision. Then we can see the location of the property, and then we can see under this heading all of the different types of application. For example, this one was just regarding an extension. Finally, if we scroll across to this last bit here, that will show the status of that decision. So, in this instance, this application was approved with concessions. And as we scroll down here, you can see that this application here in Aldborough Road for a single-storey rear extension, that was refused. And then you can see this application decision in Eversley Gardens, that was appealed. For our case study today, we're actually going to be looking at a refusal for this application here, 54 Ingrabourne Gardens. And this was for the creation of one new 4-bedroom detached bungalow. To check the specific details of this decision notice, all we need to do is just click this reference link here. That will take us into this screen here, and what we can just quickly see is the status of this application, which, as you can see, has been refused. Additionally, we can see the proposal details when the decision was made, who the applicant was, and other related matters. Now, just for a quick reference, if we just click this link here, we can see here the reason for the decision being refused. This makes specific reference to the character and openness of this particular area. Also, there are a couple of specific planning policies that the Council discussed. And also, there's this supplementary planning policy, which was also referenced. Specifically, I'm talking about this policy, the Hall Lane policy area. Now, just to quickly show what this proposal looked like in the bigger scheme of things, this is the property here, 54 Ingrabourne Gardens. And it was an application to try and place another property on this plot of land. Although it actually looks like the side of the plot, this property is configured slightly different to what one might expect at first look. So if you look here, the actual front of the property is actually looking inwards to face the main garden area. If we just scroll around here for a moment to get our bearings, there you can see that's actually the front door area there and probably the front reception room. That would actually be overlooking this garden area, or as one might expect, the front of the property to be this area here. Thus, it's not overly obvious just at a first glance, but it's just something to bear in mind, because effectively they were seeking to put a new dwelling on this plot of land there, and obviously that would reduce the garden area considerably for this property. I guess technically this area would actually become their new rear garden or amenity space, which is obviously very small. And that, as you will see later on, is actually part of the issue with this site. So just quickly to clarify, all of this information is available in the public domain for anyone wanting to have a look at this planning application. Just head to the Havering Council planning decision notices, as I've just shown you earlier. What I've downloaded here is the actual layout proposal of this application, and there you can see they were seeking to put another detached bungalow whilst retaining a similar kind of build line and size of nearby dwellings. And here you can see the proposed new entrance and parking area. This would be creating a new parking area for this particular property, and as you can see right from the outset, that is perhaps a bit crammed in. Obviously, though, they've had to seek to make the most efficient use of the plot available. I won't go into extensive details on this case study, but just here we can see they were likely to fall foul or run into issues with this particular policy. And if we just click here, I've brought up this particular policy. So here we can see the Hall Lane Policy Supplementary document. As you can see, this was actually adopted some time ago, in 2009, and it's not actually a particularly lengthy document. This particular property falls within Zone B. And here you can see some of the references regarding the character of the area and also the loss of existing landscape features or open areas. If we just look again at the decision notice and reason for refusal, here you can see it says, would adversely affect the character and openness of the Hall Lane character area. So there we go. One can see that all of these things do indeed tally up policy-wise. Just finally, for this decision notice, I've just quickly downloaded the Officer Report Decision document. Here you can see the main content of the application, and right from the outset, you can see the bad news in page 1. And then it will just give various information about this property consultation notice. And here you can see all of the relevant planning policies, which is quite extensive. Then we've got all of the other matters that are relevant to this planning application. And again, we can see the recommendation at the end of this report. That again just touches on what we saw previously. This concludes today's video on checking planning decision notices. If you would like to perhaps discuss a property site or plot of land which you have in mind, something perhaps along the lines of the proposal we've just looked at, then please get in touch. All of our contact details are on screen now, and just as a final note to advise, I shall be doing a future video shortly regarding planning appeals, which may well be what the owners of this site are considering attempting in the future. Thanks for watching.